A Michigan Republican candidate made some unsurprising comments during a podcast, which was QAnon themed, so I think you're going to see why I'm unsurprised, just after the 2020 election. So now Christina Caramo went on to this podcast. I don't know the name of it. Don't really care. But here's what she said, quote, "If you go to the Satanic Temple website, they have an entire 5-minute video explaining why abortion is a religious ritual. They literally say that it is a sacrifice. It is a religious ritual for them to have an abortion. It is sick. And as you mentioned, the baby body parts, they sell the organs. There's a ton of money involved in freshly harvested organs. There's so much evidence out there." Baby parts. So now, okay, before I get to the rest of the insanity, anybody who's familiar with the Satanic Temple knows that it's basically a group of people who are secular, generally secular atheists, that are trying to use the right wing's religious freedom arguments against them. So she, again, flew right over her head. She has no idea. But anyway, went to the website. Here's what it said. On September 1st, 2021, Texas passed SB 8, which prohibited anyone from getting an abortion after a detectable fetal tone. The law also allowed citizens to sue people who obtained, performed, or helped perform an abortion. The Satanic Temple filed a lawsuit against Texas, stating that this law prohibits EST members from performing a religious ritual to remove non-viable fetal tissue up to 24 weeks of pregnancy. Oh, see, well, see, it's a religious ritual. Oh, see? They continue. This motion was made prior to the reversal of Roe v. Wade in late June 2022. After the Supreme Court ruling, Texas enforced its trigger ban on abortions, whereby abortion procedures became illegal within Texas state lines. Satanic Temple is requesting an immediate injunction because the law inhibits the Satanic Temple's members' ability to practice their religion freely. They hold that Texas abortion's ban is inspired by a religious dogma that asserts that life begins at conception, which contravenes the Satanic Temple's belief that non-viable fetal tissue is part of the pregnant person and is free to be voluntarily removed. EST claims that this law violates the Establishment Clause and Free Exercise Clause of the First Amendment, and that it legislates a religious viewpoint that prohibits the Satanic Temple members' ability to perform their religious practices freely. So, again, anybody who's a smart person knows exactly what the Satanic Temple is doing. They're using the same dumb religious argument against the people who actually are trying to use that argument to take away people's rights. Except the Satanic Temple is using it to protect people's rights. I know, it's brilliant. But again, you have to be kind of smart to understand what their aims are, what they're trying to do. So, again, they're not really serious about it being, oh, it's a religious ritual. Again, Caramo and people like her do not understand that they are being mocked and having those religious arguments turned around against them. But let's get to the crazier stuff, right? With that out of the way. Oh, it's the baby party parts. They sell the organs. There's so much money involved. There's so much evidence. No, there's no evidence. What evidence do you have? What evidence do you have? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. Now, here's the thing. Let me show you the organs, right? The organs. Because, hey, there's so much money in these organs. So, they're going to sell a lot of money. Or, I'm sorry, they're going to sell a lot of organs for a lot of money? Well, let me show you what fetal tissue looks like at 6 weeks gestation. This is generally around the times, or, a little bit later, 6 to 10 weeks, where abortions are generally performed. So, here's that. That is fetal tissue at 6 weeks gestation. A lot of organs there. A lot of organs. I'll show you the next one. That's 10 weeks. Oh, you're getting a lot out of that one. Oh, wow. Oh, look at all them organs. What organs? Now, I'm not saying that there isn't money involved in harvesting organs and selling them. Look, there is a black market, and it's real. But let's take that nonsense idea that they're coming up with, okay, about late-term abortions, right? Oh, they're having late-term abortions up to the moment of birth, and then they're killing them, and they're just killing the babies. Not happening, not a real thing. But okay, she's saying though that they're doing abortions again 6 to 10 weeks, right, and then all the way up into the moment of birth, which again ridiculous, right? And they're saying, oh, they're taking these organs and they're putting they're selling them. It's a lot of money, a lot of money. Okay, well, why are organs bought on the black market to begin with? Well, generally, you would think it'd be to save somebody's life, right? If they can't get an organ transplant, or if they're on the the waiting list for organ transplants are gigantic, ginormous. That said, how is the undeveloped organ of a fetus going to help an adult? Well, okay, to be fair, you could say, well, maybe it's not going to an adult. Maybe it's going to a child. Okay, fair enough. But that said, what you've seen, there are no organs there. And then, of course, there's the issue of, when you think about it, why are late-term abortions performed? Because they do happen. They're pretty rare, but they do happen. Why? Well, it's because the fetus did not develop properly, meaning that it's unlikely that any organs would be useful to transplant into another person to begin with. And so there is no logic in any of the things that they are saying. No logic at all. It's complete and utter nonsense. And the reason that I have to do an explainer is because, look, the propaganda for the right wing about the so-called pro-life movement is based on lying to people, coming up with just fake fake images, using like fully formed looking fetuses, whatever, and saying, oh, that's what your baby looks like at 10 weeks. Well, I just showed you what it looks like after 10 weeks. It doesn't resemble anything like what the right wing says it does. So their movement is based on disinformation, and what they do is they appeal to the emotions of people in order to sucker them in. So you have to understand exactly how it works. And exactly, because you have to wonder, why are so many people? Why is this a main issue for so many people who generally don't always vote Republican, but they become single issue voters and vote for Republicans because we're pro-life, we're pro-life. Well, this is why. It's because of the propaganda. It's because of nutty things. It's because of things that are not true being shown to them as if they are. So that's why it's important. Okay. And now, that said, she's had a lot of other questionable things that she has said on different podcasts, etc. For example, Karamo also claimed that the January 6th attack on the Capitol building was Antifa. Because of course she did. Oh, it's Antifa. It's Antifa. Okay, what evidence do you have that it's Antifa? I got none. Trust me, bro. Trust me. Again, not true at all. No evidence of that. It's their guys and gals. So, look, this is just another example of Karamo's history of lying. Look, she even claimed that in 2020 she had personally seen election fraud. She saw the election fraud. It happened right in front of her. It was happening in the closet, and then the election fraud looked at her right in the eyes. That's what happened. No, it's ridiculous. Not true at all. Her statement was actually part of a challenge to the 2020 election. Guess what happened to it? Got thrown out by the Supreme Court. Look, that's just one of the challenges that were thrown out. And then You go, and look at all the different cases that right wingers have brought, Trump's team brought to the courts, and some of them were Trump appointed judges. They all got thrown out because there was no evidence, just nothing to prove their insane claims. That's a fact. So not only is she lying, but she's also saying some pretty unhinged things. And this makes me wonder, again, this is in Michigan. She's running for, I believe, Secretary of State. And wow, between her and Tudor Dixon, I'm not sure which one's more insane. But I can tell you this, there's something wrong with Michigan Republicans. The Michigan GOP gone nuts.